We've seen Bitcoin sell off along with the NASDAQ. And, it's attached to the NASDAQ right now. It's a speculative asset. I think a lot of this 10% move lower caught everybody by surprise. Just a 10% sell-off in a market is a market correction, right? If you see that over a year, you're like, holy cow, a few months over. Yeah. When you see it over a 3-day period, which is basically what the NASDAQ did, you're like, holy shit. And this is on top of a massive decline already.
Right.
All right. This is like just capitulation, funds blowing up, a lot of leverage coming out of the market. You saw Bitcoin, which is, look, there's people leveraged to Bitcoin, and you have these, people are going to hold forever and stuff like that. But you're seeing that come down. I think that's a fantastic investment as it's just being open to institutional investors for the very first time who are coming in, who are pouring in, who put a lot of money into, building this infrastructure out. And, are we going to see decline? I don't know what it's going to be. I know it's going to be a lot higher in the years ahead, but right now, for me, I'm using that as a buying opportunity, but it is linked to the NASDAQ as a speculative asset. And I'm going to be honest, I think this move in Bitcoin and overall crypto is very healthy. You're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, good names. There's a lot of good names even throughout our portfolio, but you need to see a lot of this shit go away, Daniel. And 90% of this that I've researched is shit. If you're looking at PancakeSwap, if you look at Uniswap, those are good services. They have nothing. The coin is the coin, you're looking at billions of dollars in valuation for these market caps, and the coin has no utility features at all. You don't do anything with them, which is insane. They should be trading at zero, right? They have multi-billion-dollar valuations. And when I'm looking at so many of these tokens, and even some of the new guys that I speak to as well who have projects, I'm like, what's the function of your token? They're like, well, we don't need this, or we have, this valued, or I have this property here in the metaverse, but that's not accounted for. You need, if you have a utility token, the value is tied to the utility. If there's no utility, it's fucking worthless. It's zero. It should be trading at zero, right? And that's why you're going to see a lot of these things trade, and they're going to come out the SEC and say that they're going to trade as security. They are securities. They're 100% securities. And when they do, you're going to see Coinbase change its business model, which they already have the license of security tokens, and the major cryptos, which are trading there right now, which will be fine. Which are utilities and Geminis, and they have their licenses for this. But this, look, it's 90% of that market is shit, while 10% is going to be rewarded for becoming the next Microsofts, Googles, Apples in the Web3 revolution, which is ownership of your own content, which is the way the internet should have been. You're looking at, security tokens, DeFi, NFTs, play to earn gaming. It's bringing all these incredible innovative trends together through the metaverse, an actual metaverse, which is not what Facebook's doing. It's not what Fortnite's doing. It's not what Roblox is doing. Those are gaming platforms where most of the money funnels into them. Those are not economies that are permissionless, that are DeFi, that are separate, where you could own all of your own content, where you're not giving away 50% of, whatever you're creating, right? To developers have to give away 50%. And that's how Facebook has to make money. A lot of these companies have to make money. That's not the metaverse, guys. And I think that's a big misconception. People are talking about like it's not the metaverse, Fortnite and Roblox. That's not the metaverse. The metaverse is permissionless. It's DeFi. It's an economy. It's bringing all of this together. It's a world where anyone could explore and go do what they want, create their own businesses and network. And man, this is the innovation that's coming. This is the next generation. To see a lot of these names come down to where they are, even in crypto, is really exciting to me, because a lot of it's bullshit, and I'm glad a lot of this is correcting right now.
Well, Frank, put me in the crowd of this is like the parent saying, this hurts me more than it hurts you, because I understand that it's healthy big term, but boy, does it suck in the present watching everything go down. And I know you're not making excuses. You're exactly right. I'm just trying to, hey, if you don't laugh at this kind of stuff, you'll go insane. So I agree with you on that, because if you want to play some history here, like a lot of people have tied this, because if you look at a year-to-date chart, the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ is basically hand in hand. I think as of yesterday's close, Bitcoin was actually down about 30% versus 25% on the NASDAQ, give or take a few percentage points. So it's being traded like a tech stock, which the bears can point to and say, there's no store of value there. It's just a volatile asset. It's not money, blah, 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 blah. To your point, in showing with past and to tie this in, if it's like the NASDAQ crash, people say, oh, well, in 2000 it peaked and then took 15 years for the NASDAQ to get back to all-time highs. That's true. I don't expect the Bitcoin to trade along with NASDAQ hand in hand, because I think in the early days, and remember, Bitcoin's still early, relatively speaking, it's not a stretch to see tech guys, the tech behind blockchain and all that, attract those type of investors tied into leverage and all that kind of stuff. I agree, because as Tom Petty saying the late great Tom Petty, waiting is the hardest part. Do you think Bitcoin's going back to its previous all-time high of one time at 20,000, Frank? Do you think the new range is, because remember in 2017 it hit 20, and over the next year and a half, it dropped down to under 5. I think it hit 3 and change.
I think it hit 3 and change, yes.
So massive, massive sell-off. Well, our recent highs are 67,000-ish last November.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think 5,000 is in the cards? No, I honestly don't. But do I think 25,000 is? Obviously, that's easy to say when it's at 30 now, give or take. But that's what I want to see on the new normal. Where is that new range? And that's why CEO of Galaxy Digital Holdings, we've talked about many times, Mike Novogratz, he thinks it's range bound between that 30 and 50. And he was pretty sobering last week on CNBC saying, listen, it's going to be a stagflation market. A lot of leverage is going to come out. It's going to be a grind for the next several quarters. Well, that's through the end of the year, at least several quarters. Yeah. Okay. But what if Bitcoin ends the year at 30,000? Yeah, you're going to see a lot of headlines. Hey, the majority, whatever the hell that means on, their time frame, Frank, a lot of people are underwater. MicroStrategy might be close to being underwater on its Bitcoin purchases. The public company okay, they are now officially.
MicroStrategies, I think it's like 36-ish.
Now, is Michael Saylor going to start selling Bitcoin, do you think?
No.
I don't think so either.
Buying more. Yeah.
And maybe those tweets, along with David Tepper's comments about the overall market, you're going to need some bigger players to step up for that attitude to change. But all in all, it is good, as hard as that says, because you want the bad to wash out. Because again, capital in huge, huge numbers from Wall Street to individual investors globally is still interested in looking to flow into this space. That's not changing just because prices are dropping. In fact, that may accelerate some money on the sidelines. I'm not making excuses and saying it's easy, but unless the world ends, people, you can't panic, and the world is not ending. And even if it did, it wouldn't matter anyway, Frank. So there's a little bit of optimism there for you.
And you have to think too, in terms of crypto, what's the thesis behind it? And it's more stronger than it's ever been, right? It's anti-government. We've seen in the political cycles of how much control that these large internet companies have of what you can see and what you can't see, especially if you're a conservative. You definitely saw it. But it's, just being able to own a lot of this content, putting what you want, in front of you. Not only that, they own the content. They can kick you off whenever they want. But you're looking at central governments themselves spending money, and you have no control over how they're spending your tax dollars, right? It's just insane the amount of money where there's no accountability. Their priority, which we're all able to see through social media now and videos, we see the flip-flopping back and forth for both parties and how crazy it is, and how the media is just, it's just, the bias is unbelievable. It would be nice to get news just that's right down the middle, that's really reporting news without a bias. And even shows that you watch on TV have a bias, right? Even, the Law and Orders and defund the police, they got to defund the police and the immigrants and stuff like that through, Chicago Fire and all this stuff. So depending on what channel you want, you see like that bent. And I think people are just freaking sick of it. And how do you get away from that? And Bitcoin is one way to get away from that, right? So, just decentralized and, getting away from that central government is more stronger than ever, and we're seeing it from country to country, seeing the U.S., and that's the younger generation, right? That's Gen Z. That's what they want to see, right? It's not just millennials, Gen Z, but that thesis is stronger than it's ever been, and that's not going away anytime soon. So, Bitcoin's here to stay. Again, it is a risky asset. We've always been clear it's a risky asset. But the major innovations that are taking place, the next generation of the internet, there's a reason why all these firms are coming out and saying Web3 is unbelievable, where you're owning your own content, permissionless, decentralized. That's the way the internet was meant to be, not owned by a select few companies. And that's why you're seeing those select few companies go all in on things like the metaverse and crypto right now, because they know that that's infringing on their territory, that's threatening their business models, and you're going to see that going forward across almost every single industry. So how long it takes, but it's here. It's not going away. You could see it, and the amount of money flowing into this industry, whether it's the metaverse or through crypto, is unbelievable considering how bad the market conditions are and how terrible it is. There is money still flowing into crypto ideas that are really good ideas.